My next guest I had the privilege to sit down with is another member of Dem Bois board. And so this is an episode within the series where I'm going to highlight Dem Bois board members. And so she's a spiritual coach, the founder of Loving Your Crown LLC, and she is also a chaplain. And so within this episode, we discuss allyship and what allyship personally means to her. And she also gave some great advice about other folks who would like to show up as allies. We discussed her leadership and her career and what has led her up to this moment of being a part of Dem Bois board. I hope that you enjoy.
Dem Bois, Dem Bois, amplifying trans men of color voices, yeah, we here making noise, yeah, making noise, yeah. Visibility equals possibility, you know we them boys, yeah, them boys, yeah. Amplifying trans men of color voices, yeah, we here making noise, yeah, making noise, yeah.
Welcome to Dem Bois Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Aaron, he, him, his. My next guest is a spiritual coach, founder of Loving Your Crown LLC. She is also a chaplain and a member of Dem Bois board. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm so glad to have you here. So introduce yourself for folks to know who you are.
My name is Beautiful Wright. I am she, her, hers, my pronouns. And like you said, I am a chaplain, which is not only my career, but it is who I am. I pride myself on providing emotional and spiritual support to all those I encounter.
Thank you. That's beautiful. So my first question to you is, what led you to this moment in leadership to become a member of Dem Bois board?
As being someone who has been there in the beginning of before a transition, during a transition, and after a transition, and understanding all of the steps that it takes mentally and physically, just seeing that element and loving someone who was going through that gives you the empathy and the compassion to want to help all those who are going through that, who might not have support, who might not have what they need in order for them to truly embark on who they are, to truly represent who they are. A lot of times we live within ourselves, not being represented on the outside of who we truly are. And that goes for all people. That's not just trans, that's just people in general who have different things inside of them that they don't represent on the outside. So if I can be an ally and if I can help people in this community that I've been a part of, even though I identify as a queer woman and I am a cisgender woman, even in that element, to see that and to be empathetic and to be compassionate and to be a part of that only makes me want to be just that much more supportive and being an ally in the community and helping others achieve what it is I've seen someone else achieve is why I want to be a board member.
So for most folks that don't know, and no, most people don't know, is that you were in the beginning phases with me. So when I talk on other episodes, previous episodes about the person who took care of me when I had top surgery, when I talk about my ex or when I talk about my son, you are the person who I'm referring to. And so you are my son's mother. We raised a child together. You were there for me throughout the transition, and you were with me in the beginning and the inception of Dem Bois, and you were my soundboard, you were my support system. And so you've seen it grow from the ground up into what the organization is now. And so what I want to ask you is, how is important it for you to show up for trans men of color?
It's very important for me to show up for trans men of color because, like you said, not only have I been your partner, but I also am the mother of your child. And to have a child who has accepted you, giving name to you, and being a part of the family that we created, it's very important for me to show up in that essence because We wouldn't have raised the child that we have with such an open mind and an open heart if I didn't lead by example, if I didn't demonstrate the acceptance, the understanding, the compassion, and the empathy for everything that you were going through as you were transitioning, the decision, the act, and all that came with it. So it's very important for it to show up because we have a child who has saw that. And because of that, he is now the man that he is with an open mind and loving and accepting to all. So if I can do that for my family, then I can do that for the community in which someone I love is a part of.
Hey, this is Sean Aaron, the host of Dem Bois Podcast. Are you enjoying the podcast so far? Great. I'm glad that you are. Would you consider donating today to help support the continuation of this podcast? As you know, this podcast aims to serve as a platform to highlight and amplify the voices of trans men of color and share our transition stories. The podcast not only aims to amplify trans men of color voices, but it also raises awareness around our lived experiences. You would like to donate? Where can you donate? Great. I'm glad that you asked. Link in our description will take you directly to Network for Good, whom we've partnered with in order to collect donations for the podcast. Or you can visit our website. On the website, click the donate button, and from there, you are able to donate directly to the podcast. All donations are tax deductible. What does the donations go to? Oh, I'm glad that you asked. Your donation will help to support our production costs. We are working with Jasmine from Pink Lady Productions that brings you this awesome content. And also, we pay our guests an honorarium. Pay our guests an honorarium? Yes, we do. Why? Because as trans men of color, we would like to support and uplift each other and honor the time that's given out to come here and share their stories. So if you love this podcast, share and donate. See you on the next episode. Take care. Hey, this is Sean Aaron. I'm the founder and executive director of Dem Bois Inc. I am also the host of Dem Bois Podcast. As you may know, Dem Bois provides financial assistance to trans men of color in order for them to obtain gender-affirming surgery. We have great news. We're currently looking for volunteers to help support our programs. Our programs include our Gender Affirming Surgery Grant Program and also our Personal Care Package Program. We personally curate packages filled with personal hygiene items. Just to name a few, things like tissue, soap, towels, toothpaste, and toothbrushes. We mail them out to trans men of color across the country who may be in need of help caring for their personal hygiene needs. We are looking for volunteers to help raise funds to support our programs. Also, we're looking for someone locally to the Bay Area to help us put all of the care packages together. If our mission is something that resonates with you and you would like to help support our work, just let us know. You can send an email to hello@dembois.org. That is HELLO@DEMBOIS.org. And we will get back to you with further details. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy the next episode. And so let's talk about being a board member. And so just give us a brief overview of your role as a board member and what your duties of a board member is.
I am a general board member. So in that essence, I am a board member who shows up to meetings. We have a few policies, rules, covenants in order to make sure that we show up authentically and that we show up and we own ownership to the role that we have volunteered to do. So in that being a board member, I show up, I give my input, I also listen. I also attend other meetings outside of the board meetings to offer input to make sure that everything can go accordingly to the vision of Dem Bois. So most of all, being a board member, I am present. I am present mentally. I am present physically in all aspects that have to do with Dem Bois in order for them to achieve the things of which their mission drives on. in order to help people in the community, in order to support people in the community, but also to bring visibility to the community that so needs to be visible because it is a group of marginalized people. And that's sad that we have to say marginalized people because that shouldn't even exist. So that's what Dem Bois is about. It's about making sure that those with no voices get voices, hence this podcast, hence being able to have yourself living your authentic life. The impact that I've seen that it's made as I've been a part of it and hearing people feedback, not only just on the podcast who might have been recipients from the awards, but just to see that authenticity that it brings to people when you're able to be who you are, not who you want to be, but who you are. And so being a board member means that I get to see this. I get to be a part of this. And that is a privilege. That is an honor to be a part of somebody's journey. So that is the thrive that I do for Dem Bois and being a board member.
I also think that you kind of like, I want to say that you also minimize your role, right? So you said general board member. You are a general board member, but you also volunteered to be our communications person. And so what has your past life, how has it prepared you for that moment and communicate to help us with the communications?
In my past life, I, before making the leap to be a chaplain, I got a bachelor's degree and a master's degree in communication studies from San Francisco State. And that has helped me along the line of public public relations. It has helped me with being able to communicate, to be able to see things through different lenses, to be able to hear things in undertones and be able to read people in such a way that you have the understanding of their genuineness. To be able to be a part of the communications, it also took me work in communicating and learning, not only from a educational background, but also from a social background, and to have that understanding of people as a whole. And that's how I have prepared for being a part of the communications in Dem Bois, because I'm able to see people, I'm able to hear people, and I'm able to look at things through different lenses.
Thank you for that. I always felt like that was like your niche anyway. From first meeting you, like the way you communicate. For folks who don't know you or ever come in contact with you, is like the way you communicate. I've always kind of like passed communication off to you because I've always been an introverted person, and people think you're an introverted person, but you're on a podcast. But no, really, I am an introverted person. So sometimes when there's a need to communicate in depth, I'm usually like, okay, beauty, you take care of that. You always know how to maneuver conversations. And so for people listening, you are a cisgendered woman, queer woman, Black woman. What would be your advice for folks who want to be allies for the community and who don't know how to be allies? What does allyship look for you?
Allyship to me looks like defending people who are not in the room. It looks like being honest of how you accept people, being open, being upfront, being in community, being okay with who you are, and giving everybody their flowers when you see them. Allyship is something that is a bond. I don't have to know you, but I will always represent you. I will always protect you, and I will always be here for you because I always want to make sure you feel seen, heard, and validated. And that's what allyship is, making sure that even when nobody else is around, hold your own self accountable for how you show up for others. Because you just never know what that might do to somebody's heart or what it might do to your own heart. If it's something you really care about, that you sit back and you don't represent others, that you don't speak up. Sometimes a lot of people say they pick and choose their fight. But when you're an ally, you're going to always pick it. You're going to always correct somebody. And that's okay. Because personally, I don't mind being the villain in somebody's story if it's to protect somebody and if it's to show up for somebody and if it's to respect somebody. Because you will understand that allyship is a commitment and it's being a part of a community that is so loving and so precious and so unheard. So sometimes you have to be that voice. And that's what allyship is to me.
Oh, well said. I know me and a previous guest, we said that kind of similar to what you said of what allyship means to us, what it looks like from our point of view, and that allyship is to show up when we're not in the room. Because when we're in the room, we can speak for ourselves. But to know when to step up and when to step back in that moment is true allyship. So I really appreciate you, Beauty, for coming on the show and giving us a little insight, giving the listeners an insight into who you are and your work as a board member. And so is there any last things that you would like to say before we get out of here?
The only thing I can say is what I always say at the end of any meeting or any heartfelt conversation. And why, yes, this is labeled as an interview. This is still a heartfelt conversation to me. So with that, I say to anybody listening, in my allyship, I want to let you know that I love you for free with no strings attached. A lot of people say, why do you say for free and with no strings attached? Because a lot of times we find out that love costs. Sometimes it's too expensive, but it should always be free. And nobody should ever ask you for anything in regards to their love. So therefore, I want to let you know that I see you, I hear you, and in my validation for you, I love you for free with no strings attached. The only thing I ever could ask is that you be you, authentically, wholeheartedly, and lovingly.
Thank you for tuning into this week's episode as I highlighted one of Dem Bois board members. So would you like to make a difference in the lives of trans men of color? If you're listening to this episode and you're like, you know what, I enjoyed this episode and learning about the board member, their life, their career, and what chose them to become leaders and to join Dem Bois board. So are you or someone you know interested in serving on our board? We are currently looking for one extra individual who is committed to supporting trans men of color. So you might say, Sean, well, what type of individual are you looking for? Well, we're looking for trans leaders of color. We're looking for other queer folks of color and or allies who understand the importance of accessing medical transition related care and all other trans issues to join our board. So we are looking for someone who would like to become the vice chair to work alongside all the dynamic leaders of the board and to help support the mission and the vision of the organization. And so what if you're listening to this episode and you say, you know what, Sean, that sounds like a great idea, but I have no idea what a board membership means. I don't even know what the vice chair of a board is supposed to actually do. Well, you're in luck. So if you are interested in learning more information about joining a nonprofit board, not just Dem Bois board, but a board in general, you can schedule a 15-minute meeting with me so we can virtually conversate and go over some things that board service requires. So just go into the show notes of this episode, click the link to schedule a 15-minute meeting with me, and I can kind of teach you a little bit more about board service. But what if you're like, you know what, Sean, I already know what board service is about. I want to just join Dem Bois board. Well, also in the link in the description, you can click the link and fill out an interest form to join Dem Bois board. And we'll be in contact with you soon. So I hope to have you join us.
Amplifying trans men of color voices, yeah, we here making noise, yeah, making noise, yeah. Dem Bois.